Picture a night 30,000 years ago. Temperature dropping to -20. No walls, no roof, no glass between you and the wind. Just darkness, open land, and a cold that would kill you in hours if you stopped moving. You are not the apex predator here. You are a small, nearly hairless animal with no fur, no claws, no thick skin. And winter isn't a season. It's a death sentence. And yet here you are, descended from every single one of those people, every human who got cold and somehow made it to spring. What they did to survive isn't just history, it's the reason you exist. The first thing you have to understand is that fire is not obvious. We treat it like a background detail, something that was always there. But controlled fire you can make, carry, and build a life around, is one of the most consequential inventions in the history of life on Earth. For most of early human history, people didn't start fire. They kept it. Someone found it from a lightning strike or a volcanic vent, and from that moment, someone's entire job was to make sure it never went out. Because if it did, people died. Not metaphorically, actually died. When humans finally learned to create fire on demand, striking flint, using friction, it changed everything. Winter stopped being a sentence. It became a problem, and humans are extraordinarily good at solving problems. But fire in the open loses its heat to the sky. Wind strips it away in seconds. So the real question is, how do you build an inside when there is no inside? The answer was lying on the ground around them. Archaeologists found shelters in Ukraine, roughly 15,000 years old, built almost entirely from mammoth bones. Interlocked femurs and tusks formed the frame. Mammoth skulls served as doorways. Over the skeleton of the largest land animal on Earth, they stretched dozens of animal hides to form walls and a roof. Inside that structure, in the middle of a Ukrainian winter, a small fire could raise the temperature by 30 degrees. The hides trapped warm air. The bones blocked the wind. For the first time, someone went inside. And that moment wasn't just survival. It was the birth of interior life. The idea that the world could end at a wall, that the wind had limits. Cold doesn't just kill you through your walls, though. It kills you through your skin. And early humans had one invention that changed that forever: the needle. An actual needle made from bone, small enough to thread sinew through. Before it, clothing was just draped hide, loose, bulky, full of gaps, effective against rain, useless in serious cold. But the needle meant you could construct clothing, cut hides into shapes, sew seams that actually closed, build a glove that fit your hand, a boot that sealed around your ankle. Archaeologists have found clothing from frozen Siberian sites so precisely engineered, layered, fitted, sealed, that modern cold weather designers have studied it for inspiration. These weren't people doing their best with what they had. These were engineers solving a problem with extraordinary precision. But even with fire, shelter, and clothing, you still have to eat, and winter is the worst time to find food. This is where the real genius shows itself, because they didn't solve winter in winter. They solved it in summer. Meat was dried, smoked, and buried in permafrost, the oldest freezer on Earth. Fat was rendered and stored because fat is the most calorie-dense substance available, and the body burns through it just to stay warm. One study found that people in cold climates needed upward of 5,000 calories a day in winter. Staying warm is metabolically expensive. You either prepared enough before winter arrived, or you didn't survive it. The preparation wasn't optional. It was arithmetic. And here's the part that gets overlooked. Humans didn't survive winter alone. They survived it together. Band size in winter wasn't accidental. Groups too small couldn't generate enough shared body heat, couldn't keep a fire through the night, couldn't pool enough stored food. Groups too large burned through their stores too quickly. There was an optimal number, and prehistoric humans found it. Typically somewhere between 20 and 50 people. Inside that group, everyone had a role. Someone kept the fire. Someone managed the food. Someone repaired clothing because a torn seam in -30 wasn't an inconvenience. It was an emergency. The group was a machine. Every person was a working part of it. You are here because every one of those solutions worked. The fire didn't go out. The shelter held. The food stores lasted. The group stayed together. Those people had nothing by our standards. No heating systems, no supply chains, no weather forecasts. What they had was Observation, preparation, and each other. We heat our homes to 22 degrees and complain when the Wi-Fi drops during a storm. We have more protection from cold than any human in the history of the species, and most of us have no idea how any of it actually works. The people who survived those winters knew exactly how they stayed warm. They had to. Understanding wasn't a hobby, it was survival. Winter is still coming. It always does. The question is whether you've spent your summer getting ready.